My childhood friend was celebrating the birthday of a poor student at home, but got drunk and accidentally started a fire. In my past life, I only managed to drag him out, barely alive, his legs crushed by a falling roof beam, and I, too, was burned in the blaze, my face left horribly scarred. Yet, when he woke up, my childhood friend believed I had deliberately broken his legs and used my disfigurement as an excuse to keep him by my side, blaming me for not saving the poor student he held so dear. In the end, my childhood friend even accused me of setting the fire out of spite, claiming it was because I loved him and couldn't have him. I was cyberbullied to death by an anonymous online mob. I was given a second chance at life. I chose to stop meddling in other people's business. A 20th birthday celebration. My parents threw a party, and all our close friends and family came to offer their congratulations. The festivities were just getting underway. Song Houchin, my childhood friend, kept glancing at his phone and then at the door, clearly wanting to leave. Mrs. Song said with displeasure, "Houchin, it's sure his birthday today. Where do you think you're going instead of staying here with her?" Song Houchin quickly put his arm around mine and said affectionately, "Mom, of course I'm staying with Hee. We grew up together, and I've spent every single one of her birthdays with her. It's just that the moon looks so full and bright tonight. I thought I'd take her outside to see it." Hearing this, Mother Song finally gave a satisfied hum. "All right then, you can take Hee to look. We'll be cutting the cake soon, so don't be out too long." Upon hearing this, Song Houchin hastily dragged me outside. He paid no mind to the fact that I was wearing 15-centimeter heels, which were difficult to walk in with their thin stilettos, and the ribbons binding them were rather uncomfortable. But at that moment, I was already overwhelmed by the joy of rebirth and the thrill of soon witnessing him become disabled. Heaven truly has eyes. I can't believe I got a second chance at life. I had just stepped into the courtyard. Song Houchin couldn't wait any longer and called the financially struggling student. "Zhou Qianqian, did you get the flowers and the cake? I told you I'd be there for your birthday, and I meant it. I just went to get your present, and I'm on my way to your place now. I'm serious, I swear. I promise I'm not lying. See you soon." Hearing those words in my past life, my eyes welled up with angry tears. We were the ones who played together since we were in diapers. We even promised to get married when we grew up. He even went so far as to turn away every potential suitor for me when I was just discovering love. On my birthdays and holidays, he always gave me roses, saying they symbolized love. His feelings for me were never brotherly affection, but romantic love. I believed him wholeheartedly. For his sake, I chose University A over the more prestigious Tsinghua or Peking University. I even rushed into a burning building for him without a second thought. Even though I was scarred for life, I felt nothing but relief that I managed to save him. As long as he was alive, nothing else mattered. Yet, in return for my devotion, all I received from him was 6 months of humiliation and blame. In the end, they pinned fabricated charges on me, subjected me to a vicious online witch hunt, which ultimately drove me into a deep depression and led me to take my own life by jumping into a lake. The icy, bone-chilling water, my body racked with excruciating pain from oxygen deprivation, and the vast, unending despair. And in that very moment, my mind became crystal clear. I had done nothing wrong. Why did I have to endure this inhuman torment? Now, I have been given a second chance at life. It was Song Houchin's turn, too. He hung up the phone. Song Houchin said with an apologetic look, "Sure, I'm sorry, but I have to go celebrate Cece's birthday. Everyone is here for your birthday, but she only has me, so I really must go." I nodded with an understanding smile. "Well, Cece does need your company more right now. I'll handle your mom for you. Oh, and don't forget to wish Cece a happy birthday for me." Song Houchin stopped in his tracks. He looked at me warily and said, "You're being so agreeable and quiet all of a sudden. The moment I leave, you're going to run and tattle to my mom, aren't you?" That's exactly the kind of thing I would have done in my past life. I loved him back then, especially on an important occasion like my birthday. Besides, I know today isn't Zhou Qianqian's birthday. She's just a copycat. My birthday is her birthday. When I'm sick, she's sick. Only a fool like him would believe those endless coincidences and think she's some delicate, fragile flower in need of protection. A faint, knowing smile touched my lips. Not at all. I just suddenly understood something. He frowned and asked, puzzled, "What was it?" I looked up at the bright, clear moon in the sky. It's the same moon, but the view from the ground and from the ocean floor really is worlds apart. I stared at him, my smile brilliant, yet my eyes were cold and sharp. I kept trying to bind you with that childhood promise, but the truth is, you stopped loving me a long time ago. On my 20th birthday, I set you free. And in doing so, I set myself free too. I wish you and Zhou Qianqian a lifetime of happiness, and may you be blessed with children soon." Upon hearing my words, Song Haochen merely offered a faint smile, his eyes filled with mockery and disbelief. "Sure, I'm glad you've come to see reason. I truly have always thought of you as a little sister." As he spoke, he reached out and affectionately ruffled my hair. He said with his usual air of ambiguous intimacy, "Be good. I'll come find you after I've celebrated Cece's birthday. I promised you before that I'd spend every one of your birthdays with you. I won't go back on my word." He's a textbook scumbag. He was stringing me along, giving me hope, while still being entangled with Zhou Qianqian. My love for him really did put him on a pedestal. It doesn't matter, though, in an hour at most, he'll be a cripple. At that thought, the smile on my lips shone even brighter than his. I waved goodbye to him with a smile. 3. The melodious sound of a piano began to play. I casually picked out a more handsome man from the crowd to dance with. "Mrs. Song apologized to me with a face full of remorse. It's all our fault for spoiling Xiaochen so much. Don't you worry, we'll give him a proper talking to when we get home." As she spoke, she slipped the jade bracelet she had worn for decades off her wrist and onto mine. He smiled with a hint of ingratiation. "I'm sorry you had to go through that with Shurha. I promise nothing like this will happen again. This bracelet is a top-tier emerald jade piece, the kind that would start bidding at least at 300 million in auctions today. This is why she was acting so meek and submissive. Our family's contribution was indispensable to the Song Group's meteoric rise from a small company of a few hundred employees to the listed conglomerate it is today. It was precisely because I, the cherished only daughter of the Shen family, was on such good terms with him that his family's fortune skyrocketed. Over the years, Song Haochen has treated me very well, and his parents have been utterly indulgent towards me. In my past life, I refused this bracelet. I feel a bit awkward accepting it, since we're not married yet, but now, I think it's just perfect. It matches my light green cheongsam so well," she said with a beaming smile. "Auntie Song, something urgent came up that he had to attend to." "I don't mind at all, and my parents won't be upset either. Just having you all here with me makes me so happy." After saying that, he glanced down at his watch. By now, he had already arrived at Zhou Qianqian's place, that copycat. Knowing I enjoy having a drink with some scented candles burning, had picked up the habit almost entirely. The scene was likely set, scented candles lit, a sexy nightgown on, the two of them sharing a quiet drink, and then, in the heat of the moment, I completely forgot about the scented candle burning in the living room. Honestly, if you're going to copy someone, at least do it properly, with scented candles. You really do get what you pay for, and you should always put them out before you leave. I'm still shining because I have a nanny, unlike that clueless fool who has nothing. The birthday fireworks bloomed in the early morning. The entire night sky was filled with my favorite blue fireworks. While receiving blessings from all my family and friends, I used my new SIM card to call 119. Zhou Qianqian's house was in the suburbs, with beautiful scenery and excellent privacy, so no one noticed when the fire broke out. In my past life, I had rushed over because I wanted to be the first to wish him a happy birthday. Otherwise, he would have died in that fire. I'm not going over there right now, but I won't let them die that easily, either. 4. Timing the call to the police perfectly was the right move. Zhou Qianqian survived, but suffered extensive burns over her body. Her once delicate and pitiful face was left in a horrifying state. Just like in his previous life, Song Haochen's leg was crushed by a falling beam. The compound fracture and nerve damage were so severe that it required immediate amputation. I received this news just as my birthday party was ending. All his friends and relatives, who were on good terms with him, went to the hospital to visit him one after another. A huge, swarming crowd. They all asked with deep concern, "Haochen, what on earth happened? Weren't you just at Hehe's party? How did you end up in the suburbs all of a sudden, and there was a fire?" Song Haochen had just undergone an amputation. Although he was on painkillers, having been pampered since childhood, this was the first time he had ever suffered such immense agony. The pain was so intense I couldn't even speak. However, I began to explain. Haochen went to celebrate Zhou Qianqian's birthday. She's the financially disadvantaged student I used to sponsor, but starting from her sophomore year, Haochen took over the sponsorship. They thought the 3 yuan I gave her monthly for living expenses wasn't enough. Hachin gives her 30,000 a month, maybe even more, and gave her a supplementary credit card to use freely. My few, seemingly casual words left everyone looking utterly stunned. Everyone present was an adult, so they naturally understood the implication, and their expressions towards him grew complicated. My parents' faces instantly fell. Auntie Song hurriedly tried to explain and smooth things over. Our Shachin has always had a kind heart since he was little. He loves helping people more than anything. From now on, Shachin won't be giving her any more personal support. If he wants to help, it will all go through the proper foundation channels, so no one with ulterior motives can take advantage. Shurha, you mustn't misunderstand Shachin. I'm sure there's absolutely nothing going on between him and that scholarship student. It's all just a big misunderstanding. He's always said he wanted to marry you right after graduation. Your mother and I have practically picked out the wedding venue already. They're afraid I'll ditch Song Hachin now that he's crippled, so they're trying to guilt-trip me with old promises. My parents have always doted on me since I was little. There's no way they'd let me suffer this kind of humiliation. Before they could even get a word out, I spoke up first. Auntie Song, didn't Hachin tell you? He's always treated me like a little sister. He said it to me himself at my birthday party. I made myself clear to him too. I wished him and Zhou Qianqian a lifetime of happiness and a house full of kids. I've long since thought of him as just a brother. After speaking, she turned to Song Hachin, who lay pale-faced in the hospital bed, and smiled. Brother Hachin, I told your parents what you really wanted to say. Aren't you happy? By the way, where's your girlfriend? I heard she was badly burned, but don't worry, Uncle and Auntie Song would never stand by and do nothing for their future daughter-in-law. They'll definitely get her the best doctors. Honestly, how could two adults be so careless as to start a fire while, you know, getting frisky? 5. Excellent. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Uncle Song and Aunt Song's faces instantly turned ashen. The humiliation was complete. Father let out a cold snort. Since Song Hachin's heart belongs to another, the engagement with my daughter is off. Let's not speak of it again. With that one sentence, he sealed the fate of my future with Song Hachin. No matter how unwilling Uncle and Auntie Song were, they had no choice but to accept it. This is all my son Song Hachin's fault for letting Shurhi down. He simply wasn't fortunate enough to deserve her. Please accept the villa complex in the Northern District as our compensation to Shurhi. Let's not allow our long-standing friendship to be ruined over this disappointing child of ours. My parents' faces were ashen with displeasure. Our family is far from poor. To be publicly humiliated by Song Hachin like this is utterly unacceptable. It's already more than generous that he hasn't actively terminated our projects and collaborations, let alone maintaining the previous relationship. But my parents might think there's such a thing as too much money. I certainly don't. He nodded in agreement. Uncle Song, what are you talking about? I've always thought of Hachin as an older brother. She even showed off the vibrant, translucent jade bracelet on her wrist as she said, Aunt Song just gave this to me. Isn't it beautiful? I absolutely love it. If you don't mind, you can think of me as your goddaughter from now on. That way, whenever I'm craving Aunt Song's seafood congee, I can come over without feeling awkward. With that, their expressions brightened once more. Auntie Song took my hand gratefully and said, Good child, whenever you're hungry, just come find your godmother. I'll always make food for you. I replied sweetly, All right, godmother, I won't hold back then. The atmosphere instantly lightened up again. No one paid any attention to Song Hachin lying in the hospital bed, even if they did notice him. Their eyes were filled with scorn and contempt. Serves him right for cheating. Auntie Song and Uncle Song have been very good to me since I was little, largely due to business interests. Our families have extensive commercial ties, so a sudden split would cause significant financial damage to both sides. The villa complex in the northern part of the city is the Song Group's largest real estate development in recent years, worth at least $500 million. He's being so generous, even to the point of taking a significant loss, all to avoid souring relations with my family. Of course, my reason for asking them to be my godparents isn't purely about the money. There's another purpose. That way, I can come and go from their house openly and drive a wedge between them and Zhou Qianqian. I'll make sure neither Song Hachin nor she has an easy time of it. 6. Real estate is in its golden age right now. I had barely taken possession of Uncle Song's villa complex before I turned around and sold the whole lot. My net worth skyrocketed overnight, making me a well-known young woman of means in our circle. while helping out with odd jobs at my parents' company, I also started dabbling in investments, stocks, e-commerce, and media. With ample capital at my disposal, I could afford to be utterly capricious, because the scale is too vast. My father then advised me earnestly, it's good to have ambition and goals, but you can't try to take too big a step all at once. You've always been strong-willed, I'm not trying to hold you back, but to urge you to take it slow. Start by getting familiar with the market, attend more social events, and build your network and gather information. Building a business isn't something you can rush into. Mom nodded in agreement from the side. That's right, the money itself isn't the issue, no matter how much is lost. Your father and I are just worried about dampening your enthusiasm. That would be a shame. I nodded with a smile. Then, the financial statements were presented. In just over a month, the profit had surpassed the combined total of their 3 listed companies. There were also several letters of intent for investment and cooperation from major industry players. The more they looked, the more astonished my parents became. Reaching the end, my father exclaimed in excitement, "That's my girl, I knew you had it in you. In all our years, your mother and I have never seen such pinpoint investment accuracy. Every single one is a bellwether, honestly. I think you're still playing it too safe. I'll have finance wire the funds to your company right away, $50 billion to start. We can always add more if it's not enough. What kind of family fortune do we have that we'd need their investment? Preposterous. Now, walk us through the next big trend. Our century-old conglomerate is long overdue for a refresh." The sheer speed of that about-face had me in stitches. With the cheat code of my past life memories, I'm like a max-level player dropped into a beginner's village. Making money is as easy as drinking water. I've leveled up my parents' lives. They went from saying I was too aggressive to now saying I'm too conservative. They embarked on a comprehensive expansion of the group's business, shifting from traditional brick-and-mortar industries into e-commerce, and also made massive investments in scientific research sectors, such as new energy vehicles and robotics, with deep pockets to begin with, and further bolstered by government support. For a time, our Shin family enjoyed immense prestige and became the trailblazer of the industry. As the top-level executive, once I had everything set up, I essentially stepped back and became a hands-off manager. Now that Song Hao-chan and Zhou Qianqian are out of the hospital, it's time to deal with them. I haven't been idle these past few days. I hired an online writer to craft a moving, epic tale of their undying love. Using that day's great fire as the backdrop, it's being promoted heavily across all major media outlets. That's why Uncle Song and Auntie Song didn't send Zhou Qianqian away. Instead, they paid for her to stay in a VIP ward and receive the best possible care. Carrying some surplus fruit from home, I went and knocked on the door of Song Hao-chan's apartment in the same complex. 7. Today was the day they were being discharged from the hospital. The house, which should have been filled with festive cheer, still felt cold and unwelcoming. Aunt Song's stern expression only softened when she saw me. "Sure, dear, you've been so busy lately. I'm absolutely delighted that you'd come to visit me during your precious time off. I'll give your Uncle Song a call in a bit and tell him to come home early after his meeting. Look at you, you've lost weight. You haven't been eating properly, have you? It breaks my heart to see you like this." The sight of such warm affection twisted Zhou Qianqian's face into a mask of pure envy as she sat neglected on the sofa, though, to be fair, it was hard to tell. Her face was already severely disfigured from a fire, so it looked rather ghastly on its own. Song Hao-chan accused, his tone sharp, "Why haven't you come to see me at the hospital all these days? You didn't even reply to my messages." I hadn't even said a word. Aunt Song snorted dismissively. "Shurha is handling serious business. The media company she just founded has rocketed from nothing to the top of the industry. She's even taken e-commerce live streaming overseas and opened up several new maritime shipping routes. You watch your tone when you speak to Shurha from now on. She's my goddaughter. If any of you dare upset her, you'll have me to answer to." The tone was dripping with menace. The look she gave Zhou Qianqian was bone-chillingly cold. If it weren't for her, I'd still be her future daughter-in-law. And they'd have gotten a cut of all these lucrative ventures. Now, not only is the money gone, but my only child is crippled, and I become a laughingstock to everyone. She had a winning hand, and she managed to completely botch it. Song Hao-chan fell silent, his face dark with displeasure. Zhou Qianqian's eyes were red, brimming with utter grievance. In the past, this look was a pitiful, delicate weeping. Now, she just looks like a monster with pink eye, which is even more terrifying. I made an excuse about wanting seafood congee, and Aunt Song followed the housekeeper into the kitchen to get busy. Meanwhile, I switched into full-on troublemaker mode. Houchin, I'm sorry I haven't visited you these past few days. Being busy is one reason, but the other is that I was afraid Zhou Qianqian would get upset and misunderstand. After all, we've been childhood friends for so many years, we've been there for each other and witnessed all the most important moments in each other's lives. If you hadn't been rushing to keep your promise to spend my birthday with me every year, you wouldn't have been speeding to Zhou Qianqian's party, running red lights and nearly causing an accident. Even though everything turned out fine, I'm still shaken up by it. 8. Zhou Qianqian has always seen me as a threat. She usually gets extremely upset when I say things like that, especially now, with her body covered in severe burns. The face and figure she was once so proud of are completely gone. On top of that, there was Aunt Song's blatant favoritism and snide remarks just moments ago. That's when she finally snapped. She shot to her feet, pointed a finger right in my face, and started screaming obscenities. Shenshurha, don't you dare use your childhood friendship as an excuse to overstep your bounds. The whole world knows he's my boyfriend now. You shameless homewrecker, you sly fox, you tramp, get out of here, you're not welcome in our home. Her shrill, raised voice caught the attention of Auntie Song from the kitchen. Aunt Song's face went pale with rage upon hearing this, and she snapped, who do you think you are, telling Shurha to get out? The only reason I haven't thrown you out is out of respect for Xiaochen. Do you think I don't know about your filthy, seductive tricks? You're the one who ruined Xiaochen. You might have fooled him, but you can't fool me. You said it was your birthday, but it had already passed. You claimed your roommates ostracized you, but the truth is you have a terrible attitude, you're incredibly lazy, and you look down on them. Those excellent grades, you just paid someone for the answers. You've told so many lies. Shall I list every single one of them for you? Zhou Qianqian immediately fell silent, her face flushing crimson. On their very first day in the hospital, Aunt Song had someone look into her background. On the surface, she appeared to be a hard-working, top-performing student, but it was all a facade. There wasn't a single redeeming quality about her. However, with Song Haochen having lost both legs below the knee, suffering immense physical and psychological trauma, and to avoid upsetting him further amid the growing public scrutiny, they reluctantly agreed to let her stay. I thought she'd be more humble now. But instead she's acting like she owns the place. Who can stand this? Her silent acquiescence left Song Haochen stunned, staring at her in disbelief. In his mind, she had always been a pure, kind, and diligent innocent, the embodiment of every virtue. But to tell him now that it was all an elaborate lie she had woven, his voice trembled. Cece, is what my mother said true? Zhou Cece wanted to argue, but meeting Aunt Song's icy gaze, she fell silent. So that's the whole truth of the matter. Song Haochen's sheltered heart couldn't take it anymore, and he spoke with a mix of anger and disappointment. Cece, you actually lied to me. Why would you do that? Zhou Cece hurriedly tried to explain. Aiken, please let me explain. I really didn't mean to do it. I was just so jealous of Shenshurha. I was afraid she would take you away from me, so I lied and said it was my birthday. You have to believe me. I truly love you. I'm just so terrified of losing you. 9. That explanation really hits a man where it hurts. Although Song Haochen was angry, he chose to forgive her. After all, what's done is done, and getting angry and blaming her now wouldn't change anything. However, his agitation caused him to pull at his wound, so the doctor took him back to his room to reapply the medication. Aunt Song then went back to the kitchen to continue preparing the seafood. Zhou Qianqian dropped all pretense, glaring at me viciously as she spoke. Shenshurha, don't think I don't know you're in love with Aiken and want to steal him away from me. Let me make this clear to you. Not a chance. He's mine, and he loves only me. He would love me even if my face were ruined. He's already promised me, once my wounds have healed, we'll get married, he'll give me a grand wedding, bring me home, and we'll have 3 lovely children together. I toyed with the jade bracelet on my wrist. I let out a derisive snort. Zhou Qianqian, if you'd said that in the past, it might have been true, but look at yourself now. You're a hideous mess, reeking of burnt flesh. You saw how Uncle Song and Auntie Song treated me. Oh, and this bracelet, it must look familiar, right? Auntie Song practically forced it into my hand. Song Haochen may love you now, but for how long? Even if it weren't me, there are plenty of other beautiful girls who'd flock to him. Let's see how long you can keep lying to yourself. After delivering that line, I rose gracefully and made my exit. I left her to her hysterical cursing behind me. My goals were all accomplished, sowing discord, provoking her, and enjoying the show. What a truly wonderful day it is. Spurred on by my provocation, Zhou Qianqian kept pestering Song Haochen to pay for her cosmetic surgery, skin grafts, and breast augmentation. It all came down to money. She wanted to be beautiful. Song Haochen feigned concern, saying it wasn't necessary, that it would be too painful, and that he couldn't bear to see her suffer. But after she threw a few tantrums, he readily agreed and even had his parents find her the best plastic surgeon. After all, he couldn't stand looking at her ugly face either. Cosmetic surgery is a lengthy process that requires a long-term hospital stay. The doctors in the plastic surgery department are incredibly handsome, both professional and gentle. Their round-the-clock care can easily spark a romantic connection. Meanwhile, Song Haochen's rehabilitation training and adjustment to his prosthetic limb were a slow, agonizing, and painful ordeal, so I arranged for a gentle and lovely caregiver to accompany him throughout the entire process. With the comfort of companionship, his motivation to recover grew significantly. And to think they were the picture of devoted, star-crossed lovers, yet, in less than 2 months, they were both cheating. 10. I anonymously sent the photos of Song Haochen's affair with the caregiver to Zhou Qianqian. As soon as she finished her skincare routine, she rushed over to catch Song Haochen in the act. Unfortunately, she didn't catch them in the act, but that didn't stop her from grabbing the caregiver and giving her a good beating. "You shameless bitch, how dare you try to steal my boyfriend? I'll beat the life out of you, you home-wrecking slut. Everyone, come and look at this. This is the shameless homewrecker who specializes in seducing other women's husbands. I'm going to post everything you've done online for everyone to see. Let the whole world know how desperate and thirsty for men you are." Song Haochen stood by, fuming with anger and frustration. He yelled at her loudly, but it was utterly useless. The reporter I had planted nearby captured the entire scene on video and posted it online. It was the story everyone once sighed over and envied, a wealthy heir falling for a Cinderella. But seeing this scene now, everyone finds it laughable. Where can you find a truly devoted man among the wealthy elite? The stock price of the Song Group, which had been barely stabilized, began to plummet once again. Uncle Song and Aunt Song were absolutely furious. They almost forbade Zhou Qianqian from getting any more plastic surgery, insisting she just stay quietly at home. But now, Zhou Qianqian, holding the high ground of public opinion and morality, was no longer the powerless victim she once was. She threatened them that if they didn't let her continue with the plastic surgery, she would break up with Song Haochen, leaving him to face public condemnation and online harassment. Consequently, Uncle Song and Aunt Song had no choice but to back down. They agreed to let her continue the treatment and even offered her a substantial sum in compensation for emotional distress. However, they required her and Song Haochen to hold a press conference, stating that the whole situation was a misunderstanding. Zhou Qianqian naturally agreed with delight. The launch event was a success, but nobody was buying it. Everyone was still laughing at how the Su Group was nothing without the support of the Shin Group. He can't even be a kept man properly. What a fool. Song Haochen started coming to see me all the time. His parents were too embarrassed to come to me for projects and partnerships themselves, so they sent him to play the emotional card, but I refused to see him at all. After lying in wait for over half a month, he finally caught up with me in the parking lot. In the past, given his temperament, he would have been full of accusations and rage, taking advantage of the fact that he knew I loved him to act without restraint. But now things are different. Not only do I not love him anymore, but I've also shot straight into the top 3 of the domestic young rich list. Even his parents have to address me politely as young Master Shin when they see me out in public. He said in a somewhat ingratiating tone, "Sure, I've tried to see you so many times, but you were always busy. Are you free tonight? It's been so long since we last had a meal together." 11. I shook my head and refused. "Haochen, it's not that I'm avoiding you, I just don't dare to have a meal with you. I'm afraid Zhou Qianqian might fly off the handle again." Shin Haochen's face paled, and he said awkwardly, "That won't happen. She's in the hospital having surgery right now. She doesn't have time to come looking for me. Besides, we grew up together since we were kids. No one would think twice about us having a meal, and let's be honest, if you hadn't sponsored her back then, she never would have made it to university. She's nothing but grateful to you." I let out a derisive snort. "Do you even believe that yourself?" After speaking, I suddenly thought of something and hesitated. "You've always been kind-hearted and trusting since you were little. but that makes you an easy target for traps. You should look into the fire incident more closely. How is it that it broke out so conveniently, and someone just happened to call the authorities right on time? You might also want to give some thought to the recent changes in Zhou Qianshan's behavior. After becoming disabled, people tend to overthink things. It took only half a year for Song Haochen to fall from being heaven's favored son to the state he's in now. The once high-spirited young man has become a shadow of his former self, riddled with insecurity and hypersensitivity. With just a few subtle remarks, his face turned ashen. Even though Cece has done many wrong things, she wouldn't lie to me about something like this. Besides, she was injured in the fire too. I let out a helpless sigh and said, "Is it possible that this is all just an act, a play she's putting on to manipulate and control you? Before, there was no way she could have married you. Forget about the mismatch in social status. Her background check alone would never have passed your mother's scrutiny, but look at her now. Not only has she entered the Song family, secured a massive settlement, but she's also used public opinion to shackle you directly. The slightest misstep on your part, and you'll be drowned in a sea of public condemnation, while she's free to run wild outside." Those words hit a raw nerve. He raised his voice and roared angrily, "Impossible. Cece would never do that to me. You're just trying to drive a wedge between us." So I took out my phone and sent him the video of Zhou Cece's affair with the plastic surgeon. "Someone sent this to me. I paid $5 million to buy the exclusive rights and warned the plastic surgeon to leave the country. Haochen, we grew up together. After all, I did love you once, and I really don't want to see you get fooled by someone like her. I won't say anything else. You're on your own now." 12. The Maybach sped off into the distance. It left Song Haochen behind, screaming in a fit of hysterical rage. People like us despise nothing more than being toyed with, betrayed, and made a fool of. Song Haochen had experienced all of that, and on top of it, he was left crippled because of her. No person with a shred of decency could stand for this. Just as expected, that very night, Zhou Qianshan was apprehended and brought back by the driver Song Haochen had sent. She had just undergone breast augmentation surgery and was in excruciating pain when she was taken into custody like that. She immediately slapped Song Haochen. "Are you out of your mind? I just got out of surgery. Do you have any idea how dangerous that was?" Having been caught cheating, Song Haochen was meek and obedient to her at home. He would even take the initiative to blow-dry her hair and wash her feet when she got home, never fighting back or talking back, no matter how she treated him. But today, Song Haochen raised his hand and slapped her hard across the face, not once but twice. Instantly, vivid red handprints bloomed on her delicate, porcelain-like skin, and blood welled from her full, pouting lips. She covered her face in disbelief and let out a piercing scream. "Song Haochen, how dare you hit me? What gives you the right? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be like this. Do you have any idea how painful plastic surgery is? You've ruined what should have been the best years of my life. You think you're still the young master Song from back then. Now you're just a cripple, a useless waste, a limp-dick coward, and you still dare to hit me. I'll fight you to the death." As she yelled, she began kicking and punching him, yet even a frail girl was no match for a grown man in a wheelchair, especially since he had been relentlessly building up his arm strength for rehabilitation these past days. He yanked her by the hair and slammed her head against the coffee table. He snarled with savage fury, "You cheating slut, why the hell shouldn't I beat you? I'm going to beat you to death today. Don't you dare think I don't know you started that fire. You did it just to force me to marry you. That self-inflicted injury trick of yours almost fooled me. You have the nerve to accuse me of cheating. How many men have you slept with? The plastic surgeon, the nurse. I bet you didn't even let the food delivery guy off the hook." They were fighting viciously. These past few days, they had both been deeply depressed, each blaming the other for all their problems. In the end, it was Uncle Song and Auntie Song who came home from work, were shocked to find Zhou Qianshan lying in a pool of blood, and frantically called 12013. Zhou Qianshan was incredibly lucky. She was just 3 minutes away from bleeding to death. The person was saved, but the recently augmented breasts ruptured. 3 bloody gashes on the head were all from impacts with the table corner, resulting in severe concussion. The spine was fractured, condemning them to a lifetime bedridden, rendered completely and utterly useless. Song Haochen, for intentionally causing grievous bodily harm, was sentenced to 8 years in prison. A disabled person going to prison. This is far more agonizing and torturous than a regular prison sentence. And that 8-year sentence was only secured after Uncle Song spent a fortune and called in countless favors. The main reason is that Zhou Qianqian went scorched earth, refusing to let go and relentlessly pursuing him. On top of that, the entire Song family has to support her, sending her to the best sanatorium. It's utterly sickening. Aunt Song had been pushed too far. She was no pushover. The arranged caregiver was to take good care of her. Every day she survived was a day of atonement for her son. After this ordeal, both Uncle and Aunt Song's hair turned much grayer. And they no longer had the energy to run the company. After looking around, they realized I was the most capable and the closest to them, so they handed the group over to me at a bargain price, almost as a gift, and set off to travel the world. They said their life was a failure as parents, a failure in their career, a failure in life itself. For what's left of their lives, they want to truly find themselves again. After all, I took the money. I intended to leave Song Haochen to his own devices in there, to sink or swim. If he was lucky enough to make it out alive, I'd deal with him then. But then he awakened, reborn. He wrote me a letter of apology, the paper stained and worn, filled with nothing but remorse for the events of his past life. Of course, he still managed to subtly blame me, even though I'd been reborn. Why hadn't I warned him about the fire to prevent him from ending up disabled? He really seems determined to make his own life miserable. I immediately had my assistant arrange for a few special friends inside to keep him company. Prison life would be far too lonely for him all by himself. 14. Zhou Qianqian didn't make it 3 months before she died. When Uncle Song and Aunt Song got the news, they just said, "Serves her right," and told me to do whatever I wanted with the ashes. So, without a second thought, I just poured them down the drain, a fitting end for a vicious, self-serving person like her. Song Haochen kept writing to me, 1 letter a week, without fail. Thinking I hadn't seen his letters, he poured his heart out in each one, full of sincerity, misery, and desperate hope that I would rush to his rescue the moment I read them. Just like in my past life. What a stupid and pathetic fool. I have several companies going public right now. I'm busy ringing the opening bell. Who has time to deal with a dying man like him? But I'll still put on a show and go see him on the day he dies. After all, he handed over his family's tens of billions in assets to me, and the parents he always longed for have long treated me as their own daughter, calling me every week and sending me different gifts. As for that good-for-nothing, not a single word was mentioned. Story 2. The system declared my mission failed on the day Peiyu threw a victory banquet for his white moonlight, the very woman who'd bullied him. She ruined his family and nearly landed him in prison, yet Peiyu still crippled my hand for her sake, letting her steal my glory. When resetting, the system asked, "Would you like to change your target?" I nodded. So that rainy night, I chose not to save him, yet this man came drenched to the bone. He stared fixedly at the man standing beside me, his voice trembling. "But you always doted on me the most." 1. On the day Peiyu attended the victory banquet with Yenyu, I was imprisoned in the villa, watching everything unfold through a live stream. The perfectly tailored black suit accentuated his long legs. Peiyu's proportions on screen were nothing short of perfection. Standing beside him, Yenyu smiled warmly as she answered the reporter's questions. When asked about the inspiration behind Yenyu, Yenyu paused momentarily, then she turned to Peiyu beside her, linking arms with him. "The person I'm most grateful to is also the one I owe the deepest apology. That's why I want to spend the rest of my life making it up to him." Everyone caught the underlying meaning in her words. Under the spotlight, Peiyu slightly furrowed his brows but remained silent, nor did he reject her approach. The large screen behind them then displayed that painting at just the right moment. My gaze shifted from Peiyu to that painting, momentarily transfixed. It was the finest work I'd ever painted, and also my last, because after finishing it, Peiyu crippled my hands. Yenyu stood beside him, wearing that same haughty expression as always, yet she learned to play vulnerable before Peiyu. She said, "Ayu, as long as she keeps painting, I'll never reach the top. You'll help me, won't you?" So Peiyu crippled my hand. He even imprisoned me for 2 years just to keep me from causing more trouble. Yet now, Yenyu is basking in glory using my paintings. How utterly ridiculous. I smirked bitterly and averted my gaze, refusing to watch any further. The system officially informed me that my current mission attempt had failed again. Am I about to be erased? Though I'd always feared death, I found myself saying these words with unexpected calm. "No." The system paused before responding. "There's one final chance remaining. This time, are you considering switching your target?" I froze for a moment. "She's an exceptional painter. I believe she'll go far." Peiyu's voice chimed in at just the right moment. His response was very diplomatic. But as he said this, Peiyu's gaze lingered on the painting behind him. Everyone thought he was referring to Yenyu. As I looked at Peiyu, I suddenly laughed. Of course, to survive, I must complete the conquest mission. I've tried conquering Peiyu 6 times, failing every single attempt. On the 6th attempt, I truly believed I'd succeed. Then Peiyu's first love, Yenyu, returned from abroad. Even though this spoiled heiress had once ruined Peiyu's family and nearly landed him in prison, yet the moment Yenyu reappeared, Peiyu would still choose her without hesitation. So on the 7th attempt, I decisively switched my target. Screw being some pathetic simp, I'm done with this shit. Your target this time is Hiyuibai. The moment Hiyuibai was mentioned, an image of flamboyant red hair instantly flashed through my mind. Those peach blossom eyes that should have been full of tenderness were instead perpetually clouded with impatience and irritation. After a brief silence, I chose my words carefully. If I recall correctly, this gentleman doesn't seem particularly fond of women. Having stood by Peiyu during his comeback, I'd naturally met many people through him. The He family stood as an immovable oak, and thus Hiyuibai grew up sheltered within its mighty branches. I've met Hiyuibai a few times, but every time we met, he never gave me a friendly look. Later I learned he treats all girls that way, yet Peiyu particularly disliked this young master of the He family. He told me to stay away from Hiyuibai. I don't like the way he looks at you. I thought this was Peiyu showing jealousy, so even though I didn't see anything wrong with Hiyuibai, I happily agreed anyway. It wasn't until later, when I saw Peiyu violently beating up Yenyu's suitors out of jealousy, that the penny finally dropped. That's not jealousy, just pure toxic possessiveness acting up. Peiyu couldn't stand others laying a finger on what's his. This is your last chance. The system fell silent for a moment before mechanically uttering 2 words. Good luck. Fine then, I shrugged. As long as it's not Peiyu anymore, that's fine. 3. Hiyuibai is hard to approach, though we attended the same school. The young master of the He family skipped classes so often that I could never corner him. Even when I spotted him, Hiyuibai was always surrounded by a crowd of friends and admirers. Unlike the reclusive Peiyu, Hiyuibai's popularity bordered on excessive. During that time, I did run into Peiyu a few times. The timing always seemed off. I kept stumbling upon scenes where he was being bullied. Most of the time, it was Yenyu and her lackeys orchestrating the whole thing. That arrogant young mistress seemed to take pleasure in tormenting Peiyu. The worst incident was when I watched her order people to beat Peiyu before pressing a lit cigarette into his neck. If you come with me, your parents might have an easier life, Yenyu said with a vicious grin. What do you say? The Pei family's business survived by clinging to the Yen family's coattails. Peiyu had been taught since childhood never to defy Yenyu. He kept his head down, silent. Yenyu waited for a long moment. She must have grown impatient from waiting, just as she was about to speak when Peiyu abruptly raised his head. No, the youth's voice was hoarse, yet his tone carried an unsettling indifference. Though his words were rejection, his gaze swept past Yenyu standing before him, landing directly on me. I froze for a split second before quickly regaining my composure. Peiyu spotted me. I won't agree to this, but he quickly averted his gaze, staring darkly at Yenyu. You disgust me. This was dialogue that hadn't appeared in the previous 6 playthroughs, or perhaps it's because every time before, I'd rushed to protect Peiyu, so I never got to see how things would unfold, but this time, I chose to turn a blind eye. I think he's got a masochistic streak, I complained to the system. After all that bullying, he still adores Yenyu. Unbelievable. The system reassured me, don't worry about it. We don't need to win him over this time anyway. As I walked away, I didn't notice Peiyu's gaze lingering on me again, for, while unable to get close to Hiyuibai, I thoroughly enjoyed my long-lost college life. Before that, my whole world had revolved around Peiyu. From this perspective alone, Hiyuibai makes a great conquest target, I mused. The system remained silent, but soon gave me an opportunity to approach Hiyuibai. On the anniversary of his mother's death, Hiyuibai would get injured in a reckless driving accident. Staring at the gloomy sky, I found myself unusually distracted. I've always hated going out on rainy days. Choose Xiaohu Bot for secure document protection and bookfinding services, reliable, stable, and hassle-free. But in all 6 previous attempts, I'd still venture out into this rainy night, suppressing my irritation and panic to search for Peiyu. Because on this day, Yenyu forced Peiyu to retrieve the necklace she'd deliberately discarded. Peiyu's poor health couldn't withstand the all-night downpour. The resulting high fever nearly cost him his life. I tried to stop him, even attempted to drag Peiyu away by force, but nothing worked. So I ended up accompanying Peiyu on 6 separate necklace hunts, watching him clutch it protectively against his chest each time. It's all in the past now. The system said, "You should go find Hiyuabai." I nodded. I know, so I opened my umbrella and took a path completely opposite to the previous 6 attempts. 5. I never expected Hiyubai to be not just hot-tempered, but also ridiculously vain. When we found him, his car's front end was crumpled beyond recognition, and he was barely conscious. The guy still had the nerve to threaten me with his last ounce of strength. Don't you dare tell anyone about this." As soon as he finished speaking, Hiyubai passed out, startling me into immediately calling 120. Fortunately, his injuries weren't serious, just a minor leg wound, and he only fainted because the idiot can't stand the sight of blood. Knowing the truth, I ultimately chose to remain silent, but this was a rare opportunity to get close to Hiyubai, so I stayed, waiting quietly outside Hiyubai's hospital room, until a pair of dripping wet shoes suddenly entered my view. I looked up in surprise, only to meet a pair of pitch-black eyes. So dark they seemed to swallow all light. It was Peiyu, who should have been searching for the necklace. His gaze bore into me relentlessly. His gaze swept right past me, landing on the wide-open hospital room. "You went to see him," Peiyu stated flatly. He paused, then murmured, "So you've chosen him." I frowned slightly, sensing something amiss. The next instant, Peiyu's eyes abruptly reddened. He instinctively reached out to grab me, his voice trembling and barely above a whisper. "You always doted on me the most." 6 consecutive attempts were enough to show me every facet of Peiyu's personality. Normally aloof, the rare emotions he did show were always because of Yenyu, but I'd never seen Peiyu like this before. He gripped my wrist like a drowning man clutching driftwood, buying himself just a little more time in this world. The phrase, "last straw," suddenly flashed through my mind. But how could that be? I forced a smile, my gaze indifferently resting on Peiyu's hand gripping my wrist. That man has always been utterly heartless toward me. I tried to wrench my hand free from Peiyu's grip, but failed. I turned my head to look at him, eyes flashing with just the right mix of surprise and displeasure. "Who are you? Who are you?" "I'm here to save you." I've repeated this conversation 5 times before. The system told me that someone like Peiyu, trapped in darkness, would be more easily drawn to their savior, so I followed its advice and failed 5 consecutive attempts. Only through these painful experiences did they come to realize one cruel truth. Peiyu was the kind of person who'd only drag others down into deeper darkness. He never expected anyone to redeem him. All he wanted was to make others rot in the same dark corner as himself. On my 6th attempt, I ignored the system's prompts and watched coldly as Peiyu was trampled underfoot. Then I crushed those bullies the same way, turning to Peiyu with a wild grin. "Learn to use me however you want, just like this. Who are you? I'll be the one standing by your side in the future." The truth proved Peiyu was better suited to approach this way. That's why the 6th attempt became my longest persistence in this pursuit, yet it still ended in failure. Peiyu's voice snapped me out of my wandering thoughts. My gaze instinctively turned toward him. Through 6 attempts at this challenge, I've learned a great deal. For instance, I've become quite the actor these days, so Peiyu genuinely believed the current me didn't recognize the present him. Then I saw it, a spark lighting up deep in his eyes. Pressing his lips together, he attempted a faint smile in my direction. "I am the future standing. What the hell are you two doing at my door?" 7 Hiyubai was an utterly arrogant man. This was evident when he, despite limping with a cane, still tried to raise it to point at Peiyu in a show of dominance, but he forgot his injured leg couldn't support the motion, and so Hiyubai took a tumble. Instinctively, I shook off Peiyu's hand and rushed to help him up. This time, Peiyu couldn't stop me. "Who the hell are you?" Hiyubai didn't look up, instinctively trying to shove my hand away. "Who said you could just?" The remaining touch me died in his throat. I watched Hiyubai stare at me blankly before he finally turned away with a quiet "fuck, damn, this little thing is just perfect for me." He said it very quietly, but I still heard it. "What little thing? Me? Who the hell is he talking about?" "Hang in there." The system comforted me. "This is your last chance to complete the mission after all." So I endured it with a smile. "I'm the one who saved you." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Peiyu's body stiffen abruptly at my words. Composed, I turned to Hiyubai and extended my palm toward him. "A life-saving fee plus hush money." since you're such a cute little thing that suits my fancy, I'll settle for 25 grand. Hyubai's face flushed crimson then paled with rage. I thought he was angry about me extorting him, but his actual grievance was, am I only worth 25 grand? Hyubai pointed at himself in disbelief, but quickly averted his gaze when his eyes met mine. The tips of his ears turned pink as he cleared his throat, his voice growing quieter. You should at least add 2 more zeros to that. This turn of events was truly unexpected, so I fell into silence. Then I turned to the system and sighed. If you'd just changed the target to Hyubai earlier, would we have wasted so much time and opportunities? The system went silent too. 8. Hyubai couldn't stand for long, so I rolled up my sleeves to help him back to bed. Just as I was wondering whether to change my approach, Peiyu suddenly spoke. Hyubai. His gaze swept indifferently past me before finally settling on Hyubai. In a strictly professional tone, he asked, are you going back to the dorm tonight? Back to the dorm? Hyubai raised an eyebrow and gestured at his leg. Do I look like I can make it back in this state? Peiyu nodded. Unauthorized overnight absence. 1 strike. It finally dawned on me that Peiyu was the student council president. The school conducts routine dorm checks, and repeated overnight absences will affect final comprehensive evaluation scores. Hyubai remained utterly unfazed, even though he could easily argue this didn't count as an overnight violation. Peiyu then turned his gaze to me, quickly regaining his composure. He asked, what about you? Of course she's going back. Before I could speak, Hyubai jumped in to speak for me. His tone was still impatient. The girl was just helping me get to the hospital. That's why she's back late. Surely our esteemed President Pei isn't heartless enough to mark this as a curfew violation. Peiyu remained silent, just watching me quietly, avoiding his gaze. I frowned slightly at Hyubai. Can you manage alone? A real man never says can't. Hyubai corrected me with a stern face. Without his cane. He hopped on one leg to fish my phone from my pocket. Then pursed his lips to signal me to unlock it. You should polish your extortion routine, Hyubai said with a smile, deftly typing his number. Next time you collect debts, remember to display your payment QR code. My phone number's my WeChat ID. Don't forget to add me later. I couldn't keep up with his pace and ended up being nudged forward. Alright, head back to school. Thanks for today. Before leaving, I heard Hyubai click his tongue again, clearly a straight-a-goody two-shoes. Can't have me ruining her scholarship chances. I halted mid-step. 9. Hyubai was right. I really do need that scholarship. The system didn't exactly give me a wealthy background, so I had to rely on work-study programs and scholarships to cover my daily expenses and tuition. I once asked the system, since I'm supposed to win Peiyu over, why couldn't I be given a powerful enough status to rival Yenyu? The system paused before replying. It'd give us away. The realization hit me almost immediately. Before being brought into this world, I was just an ordinary girl in every sense of the word. I had just finished my college entrance exams. The university life I'd long dreamed of would unfold in this completely unfamiliar world. Whether it's Yenyu or Peiyu, they truly belong to a different world from mine. I've never been part of their world. If forced into it, I'd be exposed as an outsider. So those previous failed attempts were inevitable. I don't have the protagonist's plot armor. The only one I can rely on is myself. I rely on these repeated cycles to memorize every crucial event, but I won't pin all my hopes on histories that could change at any moment. So I have no choice but to grind through strategy after strategy, using this time to absorb knowledge like a sponge and constantly better myself. That's how I went from desperately clinging on for 10 days during my first attempt to enduring 10 years later on. Only through this could I confidently tell Peiyu during my 6th playthrough, you can learn to use me however you want. In the end, I still failed. Was it bitter? Absolutely, but I just wanted to go home so badly. 10. As I turned the corner, I instinctively glanced back one more time. Hyubai was still standing by the doorway, leaning against the doorframe. He waved when he noticed me looking, only to be promptly shooed into his room by a passing nurse. I couldn't help but smile. Peiyu and Hyubai are truly polar opposites. Peiyu kept staring at me, his eyes brimming with suffocating intensity. I knew, but I chose to feign ignorance. After all, whatever he's become now has nothing to do with me anymore. I'll handle this, the system assured me. He won't interfere with your mission. When Peiyu approached me with those words, I immediately realized, this world's Peiyu must have been reborn. This had never happened before. I murmured then suddenly asked, How exactly will you handle it? Erase all his memories? I froze momentarily, my footsteps unconsciously slowing. What's wrong? Peiyu asked hoarsely. He deliberately slowed his pace, yet maintained half a step's distance from me. Senior Pei. I smiled at him proactively with curious warmth. Do you know me? A fleeting daze crossed Peiyu's expression, then came his reply. Your speech at the opening ceremony was remarkable. During freshman orientation, I'd delivered a speech as the student representative before the entire university. Peiyu let out a faint cough after speaking. His soaked clothes still clung to him, 2 feverish spots of color blooming unnaturally across his pallid face. A passing nurse noticed and couldn't help remarking, you should change those clothes, you'll catch your death like this. Peiyu remained silent. He just watched me quietly, his eyes brimming with unmistakable anticipation. I smiled but didn't even bother to humor him with a perfunctory response. I watched the light in Peiyu's eyes gradually dim, then I cut him off right as he was about to speak. By the way, Senior Pei, are you close with Senior He Yuebai? Peiyu's breath hitched in his throat. He murmured the name quietly, his entire demeanor darkening once more. Pretending not to notice, I ran my fingers over my phone and chuckled. Yes, I want to pursue Senior He. His hand at his side clenched abruptly as Peiyu forced a bitter smile, his voice hoarse. Jiang-chan, don't joke about this. Senior Pei, I want to pursue you. Peiyu, can't you like me even just a little? Peiyu. This time it was my turn to watch Peiyu in silence. I saw him avert his gaze in flustered discomfort, looking utterly disheveled. Then with a smile, I countered, I'm completely serious. Senior Pei, I think I've fallen for Senior He at first sight. I'm completely serious about this, and I'm ready to pursue him. Peiyu remained silent. He simply used changing clothes as an excuse to avoid my hopeful gaze. Watching his near-panicked retreat, I suddenly burst out laughing. No need for deletion, I told the system. He can't affect me. I want Peiyu to remember. I want Peiyu to watch with clear eyes as Jiang-chan steps out of the abyss called Peiyu. The system neither agreed nor refused, it just inexplicably said as I left. You've changed. I shrugged. Even clay figures have their limits, let alone this being my final chance. 11. If winning Peiyu's heart is hell-level difficulty, then He Yubai is literally an angel among angels. Even just one online conversation could make his affection for me skyrocket several notches. Sometimes I even get this hazy feeling that He Yubai would voluntarily walk toward me step by step if I just stood there. But that thought only lingered briefly. After all, he's still hospitalized with a leg injury and can't leave. Whenever I visited He Yubai at the hospital, his room was always packed with visitors. The guy's popularity is almost ridiculous. He Yubai's buddies would always tease me with knowing smirks whenever I showed up, playful ribbing, but never mean-spirited. Before this, everyone around Peiyu thought I wasn't good enough for him. To them, I was just some opportunist who swooped in when Yin Yu wasn't around. I walked in calmly and placed the bouquet in my hands down. He Yubai, the usually arrogant young master, didn't blush under his friend's teasing, except when he saw me approaching. His ears quietly turned red, he cleared his throat slightly, glanced at the bouquet I'd set down, and immediately frowned. Don't bring these useless things next time. Before I could even respond, he froze in surprise. Probably realizing his unintentionally commanding tone, He Yubai instinctively blurted out. I didn't mean, alright, I didn't overthink it. After all, I'd heard that same tone countless times when pursuing Peiyu, so I asked him, should I bring more fruit next time? That just made He Yubai's friends tease us even more. Wow, sis-in-law is so thoughtful. Don't spoil brother He like this. You've got to stand your ground and teach him some manners. I instinctively glanced at He Yubai, only to find him staring unblinkingly back at me. He seemed faintly angry. I froze, unable to pinpoint what I'd said to upset him. When they saw me approaching, his friends exchanged a few brief words with He Yubai before making meaningful eye contact and tactfully excusing themselves. They even thoughtfully closed the door for us. I was just about to break the awkward silence when He Yubai unexpectedly scooted over and patted the space he'd made beside him. I silently glanced at the empty chair nearby me. Crossing his arms, He Yubai raised an eyebrow at me. Weren't you the one who told Peiyu at the hospital that you'd chase after me? Then let out a heavy sigh, wearing the exasperated expression of I gave you the chance but you blew it. Is this how you pursue someone? I was speechless. Never expected the words I'd used to hurt Peiyu would be known by this person. Without hesitation, I took the seat beside him, only to be amused by young Master He's reaction. For all his bold talk about inviting me over, He turned rigid as a board the moment I actually sat down, his ears burning crimson. The legendary trash talk champion yet hopelessly innocent young master. My prolonged stare at Hiyubai's flushed earlobes made him instinctively cover them. After shooting me a glare, he awkwardly changed the subject. Did he give you any trouble that day? No. I shook my head. Hiyubai clicked his tongue and warned me in a low voice. Stay away from that idiot. I often suspect he's mentally unstable. Except when around Yenyu, Peiyu always maintained a facade of gentleness and propriety. Everyone says Peiyu is both an exemplary student and an outstanding leader. Only Hiyubai. I listened as he shamelessly slandered Peiyu right in front of me, making veiled accusations with such conviction it almost sounded plausible. Isn't he thirsty? Even the usually hands-off system couldn't resist chiming in with a dry remark. A light bulb went off in my head. Nodding, I got up to fetch the glass of water from the nightstand. Hiyubai was in the middle of his tirade when a glass of water appeared before him. Without thinking, he bent down to take a sip. From my angle, those little curly locks bounced with his every movement. They looked irresistibly touchable. I couldn't help wondering, what kind of reaction would I get if I actually reached out to ruffle them? Then I couldn't help but chuckle. What's so funny? Hiyubai gave me a puzzled look with a threatening tone. Do you think what I said was ridiculous? Not at all. I think you're absolutely right, I said earnestly. If you've got more to say, by all means continue. Hiyubai snorted, but there was unmistakable smugness in his expression. Just as I was leaving, the guy suddenly called out to me. He scratched his head, looking torn before finally gritting his teeth. Could you come back tomorrow? I never refuse any requests from my targets. So I agreed. Hiyubai's expression grew even more conflicted. Beneath that conflict flickered a hint of solemn resolve, like a martyr facing destiny. It made me unbearably curious about the unknown tomorrow, though it had been so long since I'd last looked forward to dawn. 12. The next day, I arrived at the hospital slightly earlier than the scheduled time. Before reaching the ward, I heard a woman's voice scolding Hiyubai. Passing doctors and nurses didn't even bat an eye. As if this was completely normal, only when the woman's scolding reached a fever pitch did he remember his professional duty, murmuring a token no loud noises in the hospital before sauntering off. Hiyubai was getting absolutely reamed. His head hung low under the reprimand. Even his usually defiant curly locks seemed to wilt instantly. Poor little thing. I stood frozen at the doorway, torn between entering and retreating. Eventually, Hiyubai's brother-in-law noticed me and tugged at his wife, who was in the middle of a heated scolding. You're the young lady who saved Xiaobai the other day, aren't you, Mrs.? His expression instantly softened, her face breaking into a warm smile directed at me. I noticed Hiyubai behind her quickly glancing up at me, his face lit with visible relief and quiet delight. It suddenly dawned on me. So that's why I was summoned, to help him dodge his sister's lecture, playing along. I gave Hiyubai a knowing smile and nodded. The current head of the He family is Hiyubai's elder sister. This formidable businesswoman stepped forward during the family crisis, single-handedly upholding the entire vast household. Beyond admiration, I feel something deeper toward her, an aspiration. I once dreamed of becoming someone like Hiwani. To Hiyubai, Hiwani was practically a mother figure in every sense of the word. That's why this cocky young master, who acted fearless everywhere else, would turn as docile as a quail whenever Hiwani was around. Hiwani showered me with gratitude. Mid-conversation, Hiyubai tried to butt in, only to be silenced by Hiwani's glare. Watching Hiyubai's awkward predicament, I couldn't help but suppress a smile. Just observing how Hiyubai and Hiwani interacted reignited my intense longing to return home. I lowered my gaze, schooling my expression as I whispered to myself, hang in there, Jiangchan, you'll be home soon. 13. Hiwani was swamped with work. After a brief visit to Hiyubai's hospital room, she hurried off. Before leaving, she slipped me her personal business card. I stared blankly at the gilded lettering in my hand. Then Hiyubai gave me a light tap on the head. If you like this kind of thing, I can get you a whole stack printed, he said with a pout, his voice tinged with jealousy. You really admire my sister that much? Everyone looks up to Director He. I carefully tucked away the business card and smiled at Hiyubai. I want to shine just as brightly someday. Hiyubai froze. Whatever crossed his mind, his handsome face instantly flushed crimson. He looked thoroughly steamed from head to toe. Fidgeting awkwardly, he stammered, so, do you understand why I asked you here today? Years of strategic experience put me instantly on alert. I cautiously probed. So you want me to take the heat from Mr. He scolding? The flush on Hyubai's face froze instantly. He shot me a glare before turning away, muttering sullenly, "I just wanted to show you I'm not as unapproachable as you think." I froze, unable to stop picturing Hyubai being torn to shreds moments ago. Seems not quite so unattainable after all. You don't have to compromise yourself just to pursue me. Like yesterday, bringing flowers was thoughtful, but when I snapped at you, you should have called me out, Hyubai continued. He didn't dare to turn and look at me, his words tumbling out faster and faster. "I'm not the kind of person who won't listen to reason. If you just tell me, I'd change. Even if you're trying to pursue me, you can just be yourself." These were words I'd never heard before. In my previous attempts to win Peiyu's affection, I constantly demeaned myself, putting my self-worth at rock bottom. I could hardly ever bring myself to refuse Peiyu's demands. Not even when Peiyu crippled my hand that day just to please Yenyu. That's why people always looked down on me, mocking me behind my back as a pathetic simp. The system kept telling me, "Hang in there, once you complete the mission, you can go home, just endure this hardship a little longer." But no one ever told me, never said, "Jian-chan, even if you're forced to complete these missions, you can still stay true to yourself." 14. Hyubai turned to look at me after saying those words. My reddened eyes seemed to startle him, making him fluster instantly. Fumbling nervously, he explained, "I'm not blaming you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with how you are, but I just think you're pushing yourself too hard." The voice trailed off into silence. In the end, Hyubai simply fell silent and began peeling an apple for me. His apple peeling skills were remarkable. The entire peel came off in one continuous spiral. I nodded and took the apple from Hyubai's hand. Taking a bite, "Want some?" "So sweet, as sweet as the syrup grandma used to make, just like I remember." Maybe out of guilt, Hyubai insisted on hopping on one foot to see me off when I left. I knew he was trying to cheer me up with that clumsy act. This guy's in great physical shape, with exceptional balance to boot, so I played along, laughing as I watched him stagger around. "Hey Hyubai," I suddenly said, opening my arms toward him, "can I get a hug?" Hyubai genuinely couldn't keep his balance this time. He stared at me blankly before letting out a defensive snort. "If you want a hug, just take it, why bother asking?" Despite his words, Hyubai leaped toward me with open arms. "Here, have your hug." I chuckled and embraced him. Then came this guy's ridiculously proud voice from above, "Feel free to touch more. You won't find many guys at a university with a physique like mine. Especially Peiyu, that scrawny frame of his. I could knock him out with one punch." He really couldn't resist every opportunity to put Peiyu down while boosting himself up, so I played along, casually letting my hands brush against a few spots. Just as expected, Hyubai was blushing while pretending to be reserved, yet clearly hoping I'd shower him with more compliments. I was about to praise him when my peripheral vision caught a figure lurking in the shadows. It was Peiyu, 15. He stood in the shadows where light couldn't reach, staring unblinkingly at me and Hyubai. Then he broke into violent, muffled coughs, as if determined to cough himself to death right there. Yet Peiyu kept watching me, his gaze held near desperation, like someone quietly awaiting death's verdict. For a fleeting moment, I almost believed my sixth attempt had actually succeeded, but what difference did it make? Hyubai saw it too. He instinctively tried to pull me behind him, but I stopped him. "Get some rest," I reassured Hyubai. "When your leg heals, I'd like you to model for me." God knows what fantasy flashed through his mind. His posture instantly straightened, his broad chest practically launching me backward. "Me, fine, whatever makes you happy. Don't worry, I'll recover properly," Hyubai announced loudly on purpose. He shot Peiyu a smug look before urging me to hurry back. I knew Peiyu had heard those words. Around this time last year, I'd asked Peiyu to model for me. He'd already agreed, but in the end Peiyu chose to model for Yenyu instead. All because of her petty complaint. In that competition, Yenyu emerged victorious in the end. She received that insignificant prize money to her, along with a spot she'd already secured before, while I ended up with nothing. 16. Peiyu followed me out of the hospital. I could hear his intermittent coughing, each hack sounding like he was coughing up blood, but I never once looked back. It wasn't until we reached the central fountain in the hospital's front plaza that I finally stopped. Something just occurred to me. Something so distant I'd nearly forgotten. During my first playthrough, I thought Peiyu hated Yenyu, until that day when I accidentally bumped into Peiyu, and the bell in his hand fell into this pond. That was the first time I saw Peiyu lose his usual composure. Frantically plunging into the filthy pool he normally despised, he kept groping around, searching for that bell over and over. Only later did I learn that Yu had discarded this bell and given it to Pei-yu as charity, yet he treasured it like a priceless gem. That's why the system instantly declared my mission a failure. So Pei-yu, how could I ever believe you genuinely come to love me? Suddenly, a lover's quarrel ahead snapped me out of my wandering thoughts. I watched the furious girl yank off her ring and hurl it into the fountain, the boy dove in after it without hesitation. In that instant, his silhouette merged with Pei-yu's. I thought I had a chance. Pei-yu's voice came from behind me, struggling to steady his trembling voice. He finally whispered with heartbreaking vulnerability, "Why do you keep dodging every chance for us to meet?" I didn't answer, but turned around to gaze quietly at Pei-yu. I watched as the hurt on his face gradually faded, his lips pressed into a tight line, his eyes once again dark with brooding malice. "Is it because of you bye?" Pei-yu stated flatly, "Because of him, you've stopped caring for me, haven't you?" His eyes burned into me, as if my slightest nod would send him charging into that hospital to make Yu-bai vanish from this world forever. So I laughed out loud. "Pei-yu," I called his name. Art and finance majors barely share any overlapping courses. Pei-yu froze. He seemed to sense something was wrong, his face turning pale as he took a few steps forward to stop me. "Wait. Those chance encounters you thought we had, they were all carefully orchestrated. I'd go through your friends, classmates, even club members, just to find out where you might be, then stage those coincidental meetings over and over. I kept showing up in your world, hoping you'd notice me whenever you looked up, though sometimes you wouldn't even see my face. I did occasional shifts as a theme park mascot, after all." A realization dawned on Pei-yu. He froze abruptly, his outstretched hand hovering mere inches from my face, too hesitant to move forward. With a smile, I continued, "Do you remember now, Pei-yu, that clown who handed you a balloon during your forced amusement park date with Yu? That was me." During one of my countless attempts, I learned that Pei-yu had been coerced into that amusement park date by Yu. Worried something might happen, I followed along, but fearing my presence would annoy Pei-yu, I took a part-time job as an amusement park clown. Just as expected, Yu took Pei-yu on the drop tower ride. Despite his severe fear of heights, he still got on. At first I thought Pei-yu endured such humiliation solely for his family's sake, but then it occurred to me, someone as formidable as Pei-yu, if he truly refused, could Yu really force him? The truth is simple, he adores Yu and indulges her whims. After exiting the drop tower, Pei-yu sat pale-faced on a roadside bench. Probably bored out of her mind, Yu left him behind and went off to play alone. Seizing the chance when I had a free moment, I handed Pei-yu a balloon and started making ridiculous faces to amuse him, but Pei-yu never cracked a smile. He just stared blankly at my antics without a trace of emotion. For a fleeting moment, I thought Pei-yu recognized me. Later, Yu came over to call him. Pei-yu thanked me before getting up to leave. I watched him walk over to Yu, casually tossing the balloon he'd been holding into a nearby trash bin. Pei-yu has always been this indifferent toward people he doesn't care about. That's not true. Perhaps realizing how feeble his explanation sounded, Pei-yu quickly pressed his lips together, gazing at me with desperate helplessness. So I told him again, "Pei-yu, I actually remember everything." Pei-yu's cough worsened again. Each hacking cough bent his usually upright frame as he pressed a hand to his reddened eyes. "Achan, stop joking around," he gasped. This was the second time Pei-yu had told me, "Don't joke about this," yet I'd never joke with Pei-yu, not ever. So I looked Pei-yu straight in the eye and said word by word, "Pei-yu, you're truly deeply in love with Yu, aren't you? So much that I've failed 6 consecutive attempts to win you over. Now that I see this truth clearly, I'm choosing to let you go. Is that so wrong?" 17. Pei-yu's refusal stuck in his throat, unable to be spoken or swallowed. Though the summer night wasn't cold, he still trembled uncontrollably. Finally, in silence, he pulled a small cloth pouch from his pocket and carefully presented it to me with both hands. He said, "You promised I could use this to make a wish." I glanced over. It was a crystal-clear amber, cradling a cicada that had slumbered for untold ages. On my 6th attempt, I finally got the chance to travel with Pei-yu. We ventured into a primeval forest. Deep in that forest, I stumbled upon a piece of amber with a cicada perfectly preserved inside. I told him, in a way, this amber became an inescapable prison for the cicada. But since their above-ground lifespan lasts barely 80 days, you could say it granted this cicada a strange kind of rebirth. "Pei-yu, keep this," someday you may exchange it with me for a wish. At that moment, I knew Pei-yu would become my own personal prison, but what I truly wished for was to be reborn through him, so I gave that piece of amber to Pei-yu. Yet later, that very amber ended up in Yen-yu's hands, toyed with carelessly before being discarded. This time, I've no idea where Pei-yu found it. But the amber's shape and the cicada trapped inside are the spitting image of the one I'd given him. No matter how similar it looks, it could never be the amber I gave you. Pei-yu knew it too. His hand trembled as he held that piece of amber, and he rushed to speak before I could. I have just one wish. You can use me however you want, even if you use me to make Hiyubai fall for you, that's fine. Pei-yu's voice choked up as he spoke those final words. It seemed to drain the last of his strength. Pei-yu's chest heaved violently, his eyes rimmed red as he pleaded on the verge of collapse. Please. So I silently lowered my gaze to the amber in Pei-yu's hand. I picked up the piece of amber. I saw the light in Pei-yu's eyes gradually rekindling. But Pei-yu, I sighed, that was never anything but a lie from the start, whether it was me approaching Pei-yu, or telling him he could make wishes with this piece of amber. All of it was just one big lie. A lie that could send me home. Besides, you've got nothing I could possibly use. I threw that piece of amber into the pool. I watched Pei-yu rush in like a madman to retrieve it, just like that night years ago, only this time, the target had shifted from Yen-yu to me. You lied to him. The system suddenly spoke up. You didn't throw away that stone. I smiled and walked away without hesitation. The moment I threw it, I had the system swap out that piece of amber. That wasn't lying. I told the system, better to sever whatever tenuous connection might have existed between us than let him cling to false hope. The system remained silent for a long while before finally saying, "You've changed." It paused, then continued, "Actually, judging by Pei-yu's current behavior, your sixth attempt was successful. You're right. Not erasing his memories from the previous life is a far greater punishment for him. Not just the previous life." I corrected the system with a smile. "He remembers all 6 attempts. That's why Pei-yu reacted so strongly when I mentioned the clown." The system fell silent. 18, probably eager to be discharged soon and become my life model. Hiyubai was working hard on his recovery, and, taking care of my health, I took a few steps back, staring at his increasingly defined pectorals, lost in thought. "Do you find me repulsive?" Hiyubai keenly picked up on my discomfort. I quickly denied, "Not at all." Hiyubai crossed his arms with a disdainful snort, making it clear he didn't believe me. I spent some time complimenting his physique, then even longer convincing him I wasn't just being polite, until finally the young master was properly appeased. But honestly, he's ridiculously easy to placate, so easy that I sometimes suspect Hiyubai's just teasing me for fun. Hiyubai was supposed to spend the whole day with me in the studio, but something came up and he had to leave early. Before leaving, he glared at me. No last-minute model changes, and absolutely no seeing Pei-yu. Hiyubai harbors deep hostility toward Pei-yu, and that animosity stems largely because of me. But the thing is, Hiyubai and I had only just met this time. My brush paused mid-stroke as I smiled at him and nodded. Alright. Only then did Hiyubai leave, thoroughly satisfied. But soon enough, the studio welcomed another unexpected visitor, Yen-yu, 19. This marked my first proper encounter with Yen-yu during the 7th playthrough. Knowing Pei-yu meant I understood Yen-yu too. The Yen family's young mistress is every bit as hypocritical as Pei-yu. No one knew how she bullied classmates behind closed doors. Her parents and Pei-yu always cleaned up the mess. Is Pei-yu defying me again and again just for you? She studied my face with amused interest. When Yen-yu's gaze fell upon my unfinished painting, her pupils constricted sharply, a fleeting flash of jealousy crossing her eyes, but she quickly averted her gaze with practiced nonchalance, sneering, "Nothing special anyway." I ignored her, simply continuing to pack up my tools. "Pei-yu has always been my most obedient lapdog," Yen-yu continued without anger. "But recently this dog has bared its fangs at me, for someone else's sake." She paused, then let out an eerie chuckle. "Tell me, how should I deal with this dog, and that damn thief?" I zipped up and met her gaze calmly. "If it won't obey, just pull its teeth, break its claws, and train it into submission. Simple as that." My thoughts exactly. Yen-yu's eyes crinkled with pleasure as she licked her lips, her gaze burning into me. "Now tell me, how should I handle that dog thief?" I chuckled softly without replying, letting my gaze settle on the figure at the studio entrance. Perhaps Miss Yen might get bitten by a dog, who knows? Yen-yu's face darkened instantly, hot-tempered by nature. She instinctively moved to kick over my easel upon hearing this, got intercepted halfway. It was Pei-yu. After just a few days apart, he'd grown noticeably thinner. The white shirt hung loosely on his gaunt frame. Pei-yu didn't spare me a single glance. His eyes remained fixed on Yen-yu as he said calmly, "Aren't you supposed to be preparing for the competition?" "Oh right, the competition." Yen-yu arched an eyebrow at me. "I heard you're entering too. Though you're both just there to make up the numbers, I'll admit you've got some skill." Her lips curled into a cold smirk, but only some. Before I could speak, a voice cut in. "Some mutt must have stolen vinegar. I can smell the sourness from its yapping a mile away." It was Hiyubai, who'd left and now returned. 20. Hiyubai stepped in front of me. He gave Yen-yu a once-over and scoffed. "Well, if it isn't the Yen family's old hag. TCH. Calling you a dog would be an insult to dogs. They're way cuter than you. What the hell are you?" Yen-yu was absolutely livid, yet she dared not make a single move, for Hiyuibai's expression had turned thunderous. It was the first time I'd seen Hiyuibai radiating such dangerous intensity. For a fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of the formidable business titan he would become. Pei-yu remained motionless, until he saw Hiyubai take my hand. Fingers interlacing, he involuntarily took half a step forward before freezing mid-motion. In the end, he forced himself to stare at a fixed spot on the ground. I was a bit surprised too. When I turned to ask Hiyuibai, I saw him grinning at me. "You scared my girlfriend." The moment Hiyuibai turned to Yen-yu, his smile vanished completely. The mood shifted lightning fast. "I've always been a brute, and a little more blood on my hands won't bother me." Hiyuibai spoke casually, but the underlying threat in his tone was unmistakable. Grinning provocatively at Yen-yu, or rather, Pei-yu, he taunted. "The He family's never been known for playing by the rules anyway." Yen-yu trembled with rage. "Hiyuibai, how dare you?" "What wouldn't I dare?" Hiyuibai cracked his knuckles. "If you lay a finger on my girlfriend." No sooner had he spoken than Hiyuibai swung a heavy punch at Pei-yu. "Ah!" Yen-yu let out a shriek and instinctively backed away from the two men. Pei-yu quickly retaliated after taking the first punch. They traded brutal blows, each punch landing squarely, and soon both were sporting fresh bruises. The commotion quickly drew a crowd. "Hiyuibai," I shouted at him, "you won't look good with bruises." Hiyuibai froze. Pei-yu's fist, which had been about to connect with Hiyubai's face, suddenly stopped mid-air. He looked up at me. Only lifeless emptiness remained in sight. 21. Yen-yu had long since fled. Pei-yu stayed behind, quietly tidying the chaotic studio. Hiyuibai couldn't shoo him away no matter what, eventually muttering curses under his breath. Yet the moment I glanced over, he instantly shut up and even put on this "I'm totally innocent. Why are you looking at me?" face. It left me torn between amusement and exasperation. Pei-yu didn't stay long. Just before leaving, he suddenly said to me, "I'll find it." I ignored him. After Pei-yu left, Hiyuibai lingered around me for a while before finally turning to ask, "What's he trying to find?" "Maybe he's looking for his missing brain," I replied without looking up. To my surprise, Hiyuibai actually agreed. "You're right. That old witch from the Yen family has insulted him like that, yet this dumbass still likes her. He's definitely brainless, and probably sick in the head too." "Exactly." Hiyubai's eyes lit up as he racked his brains. I remember reading about this somewhere. It's called, what was it? Sparta syndrome. It's Stockholm syndrome. I couldn't help but laugh at Hiyuibai's antics. "Yes, that's exactly it." Hiyuibai broke into a wide grin too. "Hiyuibai," I suddenly called out to him, "I've thought of a name for this painting." Before we began, Hiyuibai and I had a heated discussion about what to name the competition piece, but in the end, neither of us could agree. "What?" Hiyuibai was flipping through my sketchbook when he heard me, looking up with a start. So I walked to the drawing board and leaned over to write 2 letters on the blank paper. "Why you?" Hiyuibai froze momentarily when he saw those 2 letters, but he quickly composed himself, putting on a nonchalant air. "I think it's perfect. What matters most is that you like it." Hiyuibai said this while deliberately turning his head away from me, so I told him, "It's the U from Hiyuibai." Hiyuibai froze. I cupped his face and turned it toward me, whispering the words again. "It's the YU that belongs exclusively to Hiyuibai." Hiyuibai remained silent, but I noticed his earlobes had already flushed a deep red. "Perhaps, it's not just the earlobes." I tapped Hiyubai's slightly reddened eyes with a smile. "Need me to comfort you, my teary-eyed baby?" Hiyubai's face flushed crimson in an instant. He muttered a low fuck, then finally stretched out his arms toward me, feigning composure through his shyness. "Since you're willing to humor me, I don't mind lending you my embrace, so I smiled and returned Hiyubai's hug, pretending not to notice his little scheme. 22. Spending time with Hiyubai is truly delightful. His affection is straightforward and passionate, showing clear favoritism toward me, yet his ears turn crimson when I playfully tease him. He still tries to maintain composure despite the shyness, secretly longing for more contact. Hiyubai showed me through his actions that he wasn't as unattainable as I'd imagined. With him, I could truly be myself without any pretense. Sometimes it almost felt like he was the one pursuing me, not the other way around. But whenever this thought surfaced uncontrollably, an unsettling emotion would slowly creep into my heart. I know what this is, so I could only keep ignoring it, while trying my best to be nicer to Hiyubai, even nicer, better still. Somehow, this made me feel less guilty. Peiyu never came looking for me during that time. Rumor has it he ended up becoming Yenyu's model after all. This actually works out for the best, the system said with audible relief, comforting me. With Peiyu leaving you alone, you can complete your mission and return sooner. It's a win-win for everyone. I smiled without arguing back. 23. The competition day arrived in no time. Neither Peiyu backed out last minute, nor did Yenyu play any tricks. Without a doubt, I took first place with my piece Yu. Hiyubai in the audience seemed even more thrilled than I was. As I walked down, I overheard him casually telling someone nearby, "Hey man, you know who that first prize painting is of? It's me. That Yu is from my name." With that smug look and his curly mop of hair, I could practically see his imaginary tail wagging furiously. I stayed quiet, letting him show off to everyone one by one. Then when he noticed me, the guy jumped out of his skin and blurted out something obscene. But Hiyubai quickly reined himself in. When he saw how startled I was, he immediately clenched his teeth and forced himself to speak softly. "When did you get here?" "Right when you started repeating yourself." The long-suffering guy beside us couldn't help muttering darkly. Hiyubai shot a discreet glare at the tattletale. Caught red-handed, he stared straight at me with feigned indignation. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Unreasonable yet utterly shameless. And completely unapologetic about it. Amused, I replied, "Should I give you a heads up next time? I think it works." Hiyubai pretended to ponder deeply before nodding solemnly. Just as I was about to tease him, I suddenly sensed a hostile gaze fixed on me. It was Yenyu. When our eyes met, she scoffed coldly, then composed herself and stepped onto the stage to deliver her acceptance speech. That's when the accident happened. 24. I've always known Peiyu to be ruthless. His cruelty extends not just to others, but to himself as well. When Yenyu took the stage to speak while a video of her bullying someone played on the screen behind her, I wasn't even surprised, just a resigned "of course this would happen" feeling. This was Peiyu's signature move: build someone up to the heights, then send them crashing down so hard they can never recover. Until I heard Yenyu cry "Peiyu" in that video, and finally recognized who was in the footage. "Stop looking." Hiyubai instinctively raised his hand to shield my eyes. I heard the tension in his voice, hesitated for a moment, then finally pulled his hand away. I held on to Hiyubai's hand, so he didn't make any further moves. Chaos erupted on stage. For the first time, Yenyu lost her composure in public, shouting at people to turn off the video. Only Peiyu stood out like a sore thumb. He stood on the stage, quietly watching me through the crowd before silently mouthing 2 sentences to me. I understood. The first line was, "See, I'm still useful." The second line, "Don't look at me." Peiyu lost his mind. At that moment, this was the only thought left in my mind. He was truly insane. He stripped off his clothes piece by piece before everyone's eyes. The pale, emaciated body bore scars that glared unnaturally. Knife scars, cigarette burns. Videos can be faked, but scars can't. Peiyu standing there was the most damning silent testimony to Yenyu's brutality. 25. Peiyu was still staring at me. His eyes held embarrassment, but even more so, pleading. He was begging me to stop looking at him. I knew how proud Peiyu was, and how much he valued his public reputation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to such lengths to erase those humiliating memories once he gained the power to do so. Yet now, he's personally shattered everything beyond repair. Under the weight of everyone's astonished or disgusted stares, he stood exposed like a battered relic for public scrutiny and debate. I've achieved my goal. I made Peiyu watch as Jiang-chan walked out of the abyss called Peiyu, then watched Peiyu consciously march step by step towards self-destruction. I should be glad, yet I feel no joy. I glared at Peiyu with vengeful fury until a sudden warmth covered my eyes. "Stop looking." he Yubai sighed, pulling me into his arms. There's nothing worth seeing here. Enveloped in his tight embrace, my world went completely dark, but I didn't cry, until a piercing scream rang in my ears, followed by the clamor of the crowd. He Yubai never let go of me. He held me tight as we pushed through the jostling crowd, taking me away from that place. I later learned from the news that Yan Yu had gone berserk, attacking Peiyu with a microphone stand. She always carried a small knife with her. She lunged at Peiyu with the knife, only to have it wrested from her grasp. Peiyu used the blade to cripple Yan Yu's hand before escaping in the ensuing chaos. The Yan family would never let Peiyu get away with this, but they could never catch Peiyu. I knew, as long as Peiyu didn't show himself, they'd never find him. 26. That night, I had a dream. Strictly speaking, this wasn't exactly a dream. I saw the moment when Peiyu rushed back to the villa after the celebration banquet, only to find my lifeless body. At first, he refused to believe I was dead, so he started destroying the paintings in my studio, trying to provoke my anger. This frenzied state lasted for days until Yan Yu finally tracked him down. What are you doing? A flicker of impatience flashed in Yan Yu's eyes. She's been pestering you endlessly. Isn't it better this way now that she's gone? Yu, I'll always stay by your side. You and I are meant for each other. Softening her voice, she knelt down to soothe Peiyu's turbulent emotions. She said, don't ruin all her paintings. I still need these. Peiyu stared at Yan Yu with a heavy gaze before finally responding in a hoarse voice. Alright. Yan Yu assumed Peiyu agreed so readily out of love for her. So when Peiyu later exposed her, leaving her reputation in ruins, Yan Yu completely lost her mind. At this point, Peiyu held the majority stake in the Yan family business. You never loved me at all. Yan Yu was imprisoned in the basement. She stared fixedly at Peiyu as he entered, letting out an eerie laugh. You're just trying to get revenge. That's why you pretended to love me so much. Does Jiangchan know? Before Peiyu could answer, Yan Yu continued on her own. Oh, she doesn't. That poor fool Jiangchan devoted herself entirely to you, only to have her hands crippled and be imprisoned in your villa. She giggled maliciously, her eyes glinting with venom as she stared at Peiyu. Tell me, Peiyu, was Jiangchan still hating you when she died? She was trying to provoke Peiyu. For Yan Yu now, death might be a release, so she kept provoking Peiyu, hoping he'd kill her. But Yan Yu's plan backfired. Provocation might work on normal people, but Peiyu had already lost his mind. He calmly carried out his revenge against Yan Yu, then days later visited a supposedly miraculous temple alone. Before setting off, Peiyu came to see me. He said he truly, deeply loved me. He admitted he knew exactly why I approached him. He confessed he just didn't want me to leave so soon. I listened in silence as Peiyu revealed many things I never knew. Finally, he told me, Achan, he Yubai is looking for you, but I won't give you up to him. You belong to me, and only me. Even if you hate me, resent me, I'll never let you go. Peiyu murmured these words under his breath, over and over. He remained utterly calm while saying these words, but his eyes held a lifeless void. So for the first time, I spoke to Peiyu in my dream. I said, Peiyu, I still don't believe you love me. My grandmother once told me, if love isn't felt by the one being loved, then it's not love at all. So Peiyu, you don't love me. It was just a dream. Peiyu would never hear it. As I finished speaking, I watched the last remnants of Peiyu's composed facade crumble away. He descended into hell, but this time, Jiangchan wasn't there to accompany Peiyu. Peiyu still made his way to the Buddhist temple. 53 stone steps lead to the temple gate, 53 bows, each bow bringing one closer to Buddha. Peiyu never put stock in gods or spirits, yet that single time, he bowed at every step. That day, I saw someone else doing the exact same thing. He Yubai. The two of us went about our identical rituals without exchanging a single word. And when the abbot asked whom we'd come to honor, we gave the same reply, Jiangchan. 27. He Yubai and I officially became a couple. Before taking me to meet Hiwani, he mysteriously retrieved a small black box, insisting we had to wait until meeting her to reveal its contents. Fine then, I left him alone. That night, I kept kicking myself for not stepping in. Besides Hiwani, other members of the He family were there that day, so He Yubai opened that little box, handing out business cards one by one to the He family members. My wife's business card, keep it safe. Gold lettering on black background. Besides my name, there were several small characters engraved clearly and unmistakably. My dearest wife, He Yubai. He truly kept the promise he made to me back then. If you like this kind of thing, I can print you a whole stack another day. I stared silently at the business card in my hand, reasonably suspecting Hiyubai was taking this opportunity to get back at me. When I looked up, I saw him clutching that business card with a ridiculously goofy grin. It was just a business card, yet he held it like he'd been handed the whole world. My heart melted right then. That day, under the He family's bewildered stares, I calmly spoke my praises for Hiyubai. This spirit of enduring humiliation to fulfill obligations deeply moved the He family. Before leaving, Sister He patted my shoulder and said solemnly, "You're a good girl, you've suffered too much." Hiyubai happened to overhear this while coming to look for me. He remained silent at the time, but later made me pay for it dearly. In the end, he was the one acting all hurt first. "Did I really make you suffer by being with me?" "Not at all," I answered immediately. Hiyubai was still grumbling, but clearly mostly appeased. "Actually, this isn't so bad after all." For a fleeting moment, it crossed my mind. 28. Hiyubai's mission had long been accomplished, yet I still dragged it out until my birthday. He seemed to have noticed something, sticking to me even more closely all day. So on my birthday, I bought a bunch of apples and said to Hiyubai, "Teach me how to peel an apple." Hiyubai's apple peels were beautifully done. He seemed a bit stunned, but agreed in the end. "I'm such a klutz, I've already ruined several apples." When only one apple remained, I finally set down the paring knife. "Xiaobai." I licked my dry lips and smiled at him. "They say if you make a wish while peeling an apple and the peel stays unbroken, your wish will come true. So, what would you wish for?" Hiyubai's hands paused midair as he was arranging the apple slices. Looking up at me with a slight eyebrow raise, he asked, "Why are you asking about my wish?" "Because it's my birthday today." I already made a wish when eating the birthday cake. Well, I could say I'm great at peeling apples and make my own wish then. Hiyubai chuckled at my remark. "That's different." I shook my head vigorously. "Peeling apples is as easy as eating for you. Wishes lose their magic if you make them too often. Look at me. I've never succeeded even once." I tapped the pile of apple peels on the table, then waved the last apple at him with a playful smirk. "So if I nail it this final time, your wish is guaranteed to come true." "Last apple, huh?" Hiyubai paused, clicked his tongue, then chuckled ruefully. "Had I known you'd burn through them like this, I'd have stocked up more." "Make a wish, quick, a wish, huh?" Hiyubai stroked his chin in mock contemplation. Just as I was growing impatient, the man suddenly smiled at me. "All right then, I'll make one. I wish my Gigi could return to her true self." Now it was my turn to be stunned. "That's cheating," I grumbled. "You were supposed to make your own wish, but that is my wish." Hiyubai sat beside me, his gaze impossibly tender. "Gigi will help me make it come true, won't you?" A sudden lump formed in my throat. 29. I peeled that apple with extraordinary care, yet obstacles still arose. The moment I sensed something was off, I couldn't tell whether it was relief or some other emotion stirring in my chest, but the next second, Hiyubai grabbed my hand. He clicked his tongue. "Knew you couldn't make it with constricted throat." Ding. Departure countdown. 10, 9. I forced myself to speak faster. "But I truly want to invite you to my world. My grandmother's sweet soups are legendary." Hiyubai couldn't bring himself to say "I know," because he could never visit my world, nor ever taste just how sweet my grandmother's soups really were. Then he leaned down and kissed me. "Well then, I hope I'll get to try it someday. Gigi. Remember to pay more attention to those around you next time. When one path doesn't work out, trying another might just lead to success. Someone will always come along just to love you. You're that wonderful." I always believed my name symbolized my troubled fate, yet only Hiyubai told me, "No, it represents rebirth, an eternal cycle of renewal. That is the cicada's rebirth." The moment the words left my mouth, I spotted Peiyu standing behind Hiyubai, someone I hadn't seen in ages. His hat obscured most of his face. He stood frozen, staring at me unblinkingly yet too hesitant to take even half a step forward. Truth be told, there were still so many things I wanted to say to Hiyubai. The system's countdown has ended, mission accomplished, preparing to exit the virtual world. But Hiyubai, I never got to tell you my birthday wish. I wish I could see you again, just to say, I truly liked you all along. In the final second before consciousness faded, I heard the drawn-out wail of a siren. I saw Hiyubai's red-rimmed eyes as he struggled to force a smile. He said, "I love you." Behind him, Peiyu silently mouthed the same words, "I love you." Congratulations on successfully completing the mission. I had a very long dream, extra. In the dream, right after finishing my college entrance exams, I was whisked away to a completely unfamiliar world. The only way to return to my own world was to complete the assigned missions there, yet I kept failing. Until the 7th try, I blinked dazedly. Wait, the 7th attempt? How did I suddenly succeed? Sweetie, take these dessert soups out to the customers, Grandma's voice called out to me. That summer after finishing my college entrance exams, I returned to my hometown to help at Grandma's dessert shop. I answered coming, and hurriedly carried out a few bowls. Someone had left a chair in the middle of the path. I didn't see it in time and nearly took a tumble, instead of the expected pain. I found myself caught in a warm embrace. A voice both familiar and unfamiliar came from above. Told you, you're hopeless without me. As arrogant and proud as ever, I looked up blankly at the person before me, only to realize my face was streaked with tears. What are you crying for? He fumbled clumsily to wipe my tears, though his own face was clearly more tear-stained than mine. I came all this way just to taste how sweet Grandma's dessert soup is. Oh, and make mine extra sweet. My sister's got a serious sweet tooth. Snapping back to reality, I reached out toward him. You by. May I pat your head? This was something I'd always wanted to do but never got the chance. You by froze for a second. Though he muttered, patting head stunts growth. His body betrayed him as he took the tray from my hands and bent down slightly. Amid the good-natured teasing from surrounding customers, I finally got to ruffle that mop of fiery red curls. Then I told him, you by. I really, truly like you. So, welcome to my world. You by. Ding, world integration complete. Final reward delivered. Hope you'll give us 5 stars. You by. Side story 1. Young master. He was a premature baby and quite frail in his childhood. Yet he possessed a fiery temper that stood in stark contrast. Like a powder keg, the slightest criticism could set him off. This had given Mrs. He and her daughter quite the headache on numerous occasions. Do you know what people are saying about you, Mrs.? He tapped Xiao Hiyubai's head in exasperation, torn between laughter and frustration. They claim your natural curls came from being buried in firecrackers as a child. Pure jealousy. Hiyubai shook his head vigorously, sending his springy little curls bouncing. His confidence, that impeccable trait, shone through him since childhood. Could they even find someone with curls this perfect naturally? Did we call you here to show off? Hiwani rolled her eyes in exasperation, gripping Hiyubai's face with both hands. She hissed through clenched teeth. They came to complain in person. Don't you have anything to say for yourself? Little Hiyubai fell silent. Just as the two adults thought the little troublemaker might show some remorse after hitting someone, Hiyubai's face twisted in solemn determination. Next time I'll beat them so badly they won't dare tattle. Anyone who complains gets another beating. Mother Hiwani remained silent, simply giving her younger brother a sound thrashing in quiet fury. Between blows, she kept demanding whether he'd admit his wrongdoing. But the stubborn young master, he had been pig-headed since childhood, his face and nose flushed crimson from weeping, yet he refused to yield an inch. Finally, between hiccuping sobs came his defiant cry, beat me to death if you must, but I'll still fight them. Who told them to call me a sickly weakling doomed to die young? Hiyubai had never uttered such words before. Only when truly wronged did this outburst escape him. Mother, he immediately asked with grave concern what had happened. Little Yubai turned his head away in stubborn silence. Flushed with frustration, he finally blurted out, a real man handles his own business. So the little tough guy got punished by copying Buddhist scriptures in the study, then got shipped off to a monastery during vacations for character cultivation. Whether any actual cultivation happened, nobody outside could tell, but young master, he did bulk up considerably. Within a few years, the once pint-sized kid outgrew all his peers. His short fuse hasn't changed a bit. The only noticeable difference was the string of Bodhi prayer beads now adorning his wrist. Young master, he would absent-mindedly fiddle with them from time to time, noticing how treasured the beads were. Someone sidled up with a grin and asked, "Are those things really that fun to play with?" Hiyubai shot him a sidelong glance and sneered, "I wouldn't know about handling prayer beads, but I sure know how to handle someone as obnoxious as you." The man immediately shut his mouth. Ever since the young master took up Buddhist prayer beads, he'd been far less inclined to handle people, yet this precious string of prayer beads inexplicably snapped the moment it touched that girl named Jiang Chan. The scattered Bodhi seeds completely ruined Hiyubai's mood, but he knew he couldn't blame anyone. The girl was merely passing by. Besides, she seemed to be in a hurry anyway, so Hiyubai could only sulk silently. Picking up the seeds one by one and clutching them in his hand, 17 beads, yet the mother pearl was missing. Hiyubai wondered if it had accidentally fallen into someone's pocket, but when he looked up, the person was already gone. During that period, young Master He's mood grew even darker, often itching to pick a fight with someone, but whenever he confronted others, He Wabai would inexplicably recall that day's events. The delicate-looking girl who accidentally bumped into him got knocked backward instead, her face betraying unmistakable shock and disbelief. He Wabai fell silent for a moment, glancing down at his own physique. Had all those recent arm-wrestling matches made him look bulkier than before? Young Master He quietly withdrew his challenge-ready hand and walked away. Honestly, that girl's shocked expression sometimes works better than the Buddhist prayer beads. The next time they met, Peiyu was being bullied. He Wabai knew that Pei family's boy was practically the old witch Anne's lapdog. They'd play with him for amusement when happy, and take out their anger on him when displeased. Those in the know all sighed at Peiyu's misfortune, stuck with those ruthless, status-obsessed parents who left him too intimidated to rebel. Peiyu, too intimidated to rebel. He Wabai recalled the feral glint he'd once glimpsed in that wolf cub's eyes and scoffed. Frankly, he reckoned there wasn't much Peiyu wouldn't dare to do, but this matter had little to do with him anyway. He Wabai had previously asked Peiyu if he needed help, only to be turned down. When it's a case of mutual willingness, even the young master wouldn't interfere. So He Wabai glanced casually and was about to leave, when unexpectedly he spotted that girl named Jiang Chan. The girl stood quietly in the corner watching it all, her face completely expressionless. No, perhaps there was something. For just a moment, He Wabai sensed overwhelming sorrow radiating from the girl. Due to his health condition, he'd always been acutely sensitive to others' emotions. Somehow, He Wabai suddenly found himself intrigued, so he reluctantly decided to stay and watch the show. Just as Peiyu was being trampled by that group, the young girl sprang into action. It was the first time He Wabai realized a young girl could fight with such ruthless efficiency. It was the first time he realized this delicate-looking girl could actually knock out a grown man with one punch. It even made his fists itch with the urge to step up and throw down. Fuck, He Wabai cursed under his breath, yet his gaze toward Jiang Chan grew increasingly bright. Fortunately, what little reason remained held young Master He back. The girl crushed those people underfoot just as they had trampled Peiyu, then turned her head with a radiant smile. You can learn to use me freely. Just like this. Who are you? I'll be the one standing by your side in the future. Young Master He twitched his lips, then couldn't help but curse under his breath. Toothache. That line was so cringe-worthy it hurt. He watched the girl flash a radiant smile at the Pei family's young wolf, yet all that lingered in his mind was her expressionless sorrow when witnessing Peiyu being beaten. So later, when everyone believed Jiang Chan was madly in love with Peiyu, only He Wabai sensed something amiss. He never believed in love without reason, especially when Peiyu treated her so poorly because of Yenyu, so his curiosity grew even stronger, wondering just how far Jiang Chan would go for Peiyu. But He Wabai forgot, when someone develops intense curiosity about another person, that's often where affection begins. So if you really asked young Master He when he fell for Jiang Chan, even he couldn't tell you. It suddenly struck me one day, if it were him, he'd undoubtedly cherish this girl with all his heart. The moment this thought surfaced, He Wabai himself was startled, but soon he came to accept this truth with remarkable composure. He was in love with Jiang Chan, perhaps from the very first meeting. He felt that face was practically tailor-made to his liking. What's more, they were clearly destined for each other. Those prayer beads never broke before. Why did they snap just as that girl walked by? How is it that out of all the smaller beads, only the single master bead went missing? Young Master He pondered gloomily for several minutes before suddenly slapping his thigh in delight. Those two were truly meant to be. Recalling the vile deeds Peiyu had committed for revenge, He Wabai seriously considered whether to play the homewrecker and steal the girl for himself. Yet even as he contemplated this, an ache crept into his heart. He thought to himself, wasn't he just as good as that little wolf cub? He deliberately or otherwise lingered around that girl so many times, helped her openly and covertly on countless occasions, so why hadn't she spared him a single glance? But young Master He was nothing if not analytical. He concluded two things. First, he was too damn decent, lacking that bastard's scheming nature. Second, he simply hadn't made his intentions obvious enough. After much soul-searching, He Wabai resolved to take the initiative. Yet his stint as the green tea he lasted merely a day, because Peiyu and Jiang Chan became an item. Whether the surrounding congratulations were genuine or perfunctory, He Wabai saw true happiness radiating from Jiang Chan's smile. He Wabai fell silent, and the flowers from that day were never delivered. Later, some family matters arose, unable to bear seeing his sister struggle. Hiyubi volunteered to join the company early to share her workload. Eventually, he went abroad to expand the market. When I saw Jiang-chan again, she stood beside Peiyu with none of her usual smiles left. She still rushed to Peiyu without hesitation, but the joy and happiness were gone from her actions. Peiyu's controlling nature grew increasingly intense. He forbade me from approaching Jiang-chan. He said, "I know what's on your mind, but Jiang-chan has feelings for me." That single phrase, "Jiang-chan has feelings for me," was enough to turn the fearless master he into a coward. Hiyubi ignored Peiyu's warning. He simply had someone pass his sister's contact information to Jiang-chan, telling her to reach out if she needed anything. His career focus remains primarily on overseas markets, so he spends little time domestically. This later became a source of endless regret for Hiyubi. Had he stayed in the country back then, would Jiang-chan still be alive? On the day Jiang-chan died, Hiyubi had a dream. He dreamed of Jiang-chan struggling time and again to reach Peiyu, trying to pull him out of the abyss named Yenyu. He watched as the once clumsy girl relentlessly pushed herself to become a better version of herself, yet at the same time, he witnessed her gradually losing her true self. In that dream, he also learned of an entity called the System. He realized the little girl did all this just because she wanted to go home, back to where she truly belonged, but in reality, Jiang-chan was already dead. That little girl who longed so desperately to return home never made it back before her death. Would you help her? At the dream's end, Hiyubi heard this question posed by a cold, mechanical voice. He recognized that voice. It was the same System that had advised the girl on how to win Peiyu's heart. Hiyubi let out a chuckle. He asked, "Are you trying to make up for your mistakes now?" The sin of dragging an innocent girl into this unfamiliar world and letting her get hurt time and again. Hiyubi had a fiery temper. Everyone thinks Hiyubi is quick to anger, but in truth, he rarely loses his temper. Once when he was called a short-lived devil as a child, and once when his mother passed away. The first time was when Jiang-chan died, and the second time is now. The voice fell silent for a long while. I thought she would succeed this time. It made no attempt to deny its sin, so I shall right this wrong. Then it asked again, "Will you help her?" Hiyubi never believed in love without reason. Once again, he willingly surrendered to this intense and passionate love. He had fallen for Jiang-chan more than once. Then he heard himself chuckle softly and say, "Of course, escorting a lost little girl home, what a meaningful thing to do." Part 2. Hiyubi woke up groggily, his legs screaming in agony, through the haze of memory. He recalled crashing his bike during an emotional joyride, being hemophobic. His first thought when rescued was, "Not a word about this to anyone." How utterly humiliating. The ruthless business tycoon Mr. He clicked his tongue in irritation, cursing internally with an impassive face. He suddenly remembered he should go find Jiang-chan now. But first, he needed to warn his rescuer not to speak carelessly. Wait a minute, who exactly saved him again? Hiyubi scratched his head, but try as he might, he couldn't recall what the person looked like. The only thing he remembered was that it was a woman. Age really does a number on your memory, with memories spanning 7 lifetimes. Hiyubi truly felt like an old man, a lonely old codger at that. So the poor old soul borrowed a crutch from the neighboring bed, hobbled a few steps, and looked up to see that idiot Peiyu standing at the ward entrance. There was another familiar figure. Hiyubi's eyes flew open as the blurred face he'd glimpsed before losing consciousness slowly came into focus. Great. Just what I needed. More humiliation. Fuck. He cursed again, then blurted out instinctively, "What the hell are you two doing at my door?" Damn it. He could clearly see that bastard holding his girl's hand, so Hiyubi started hopping even faster. He raised his cane, ready to point at Peiyu in warning, just as Hiyubi raised his cane halfway. Jiang-chan's concerned glance caught his eye, and a brilliant idea flashed through his mind, so he took a deliberate tumble. Immediately, Jiang-chan wrenched her hand from Peiyu's grasp and rushed to his side, but master, he had always been the tsundere type, all pride and prickliness. He kept his head down and blurted out, "Who the hell are you? Nobody gave you permission to touch." Yet when Jiang-chan's fingers made contact, Hiyubi's breath hitched despite himself, raising his head. He stared dumbfounded at the face he'd secretly gazed upon countless times before. The impeccably tailored black suit accentuated his long legs. Peiyu's on-screen proportions were nothing short of perfection. He could only turn his head away, forcibly hiding his slightly reddened eyes as he muttered a low "fuck." But after cursing, he couldn't help but chuckle to himself first. Damn, how the hell does this little thing just happen to be so perfect for me? And it's been perfect so many times. At the same moment, I heard that voice again. Target confirmed. I, wishing you success. I knew that she wasn't just referring to Jiang-chan. His eyes flickered imperceptibly toward the despondent-looking Peiyu, unable to suppress his delight. Well, it's finally his turn this time.